Dear students, hope you are safe and healthy. My name is Mudassar Abbas and I am lecturer at Institute of Business Studies, Guwahati University of Science and Technology. My area of specialization is human resource management. This subject is about principles of management with a course code of BS 121. In today's lesson, we gonna study about foundation of planning. Okay, before going into the detail of the lesson, let me share with you two reference books that you can use as a reference. These books are easily available in the market and you can also download them from internet for free. The first book is Principles of Management and its application, that is written by Ricky W. Griffin. You can download any edition of this. We have 10th edition and onward. The second book is Management by Stephen P. Robbins and Mary Coulter. So you can download any of this book and make it as a reference book. Both books are very readers friendly. In this lecture, we will be able to learn about the definition of planning. We will also try to explain why managers plan, and also we will try to study about what roles goals play in planning process. We will also be able to distinguish among different types of plans and also how goals are established. We will also study different characteristics of well-designed goals. Furthermore, we will also learn to identify the three contingency factors in planning process. We'll also explain the approaches to developing plans. We'll also discuss different scholars' approach towards planning process and how they criticize different aspects of planning. Lastly, we'll also describe what it takes to effectively plan in a dynamic environment. Planning is considered to be one of the most important function of management. It is the process that involves defining the organizational goal, establishing overall strategy, and developing a comprehensive set of plans to integrate and coordinate organizational work. Planning is basically of two types: informal planning and formal planning. In informal planning, there is nothing written down. There is no or little sharing of goals. These kind of planning are general in nature and they lack continuity. That means these kind of plans are not considered for a long period of time. On the other hand, the formal planning are written down. They have a specific nature. They are basically designed to be followed for a long period of time. Specific action programs exist to achieve these kind of. Now we will discuss about the purpose of planning. As I mentioned early that planning is one of the important pillar of the management function. Planning is considered to be a primary management function that establishes the basis for all other management functions. That means without planning, we cannot think of organizing, leading, and controlling. Planning establishes a coordinated effort that help the organization in achieving its goals and objectives. In today's dynamic environment, planning helps in reducing the uncertainty and guarantees the organizational success. Planning also helps in reducing the overlapping and wasteful of activities. Planning establishes goals and standards that are used in controlling process. Keep in mind that for controlling, we have to compare the actual performance with the desired performance. These desired performance are actually originated from defining the goals. Planning is considered to have a strong impact on the organizational performance. That's why it is considered that formal planning process is associated with high return on assets and high profits. That means if we have a proper planning department, we can expect high profit for the organization, and also we can have high return on assets. The quality of the planning process and the appropriate implementation of the plans probably contribute more to the high performance than does the extent of planning. External environment may undermine the effects of planning process. That's why we must consider the effect of external environment while doing any kind of planning. Planning and performance relationship is influenced by the planning time frame. For any kind of planning, we must consider the time frame in which that planning has to be completed. Now we will discuss how managers plan. In the job responsibilities of the managers, goals and plans are very important. Goals are the desired outcomes. They provide direction for all management functions. They represent the criteria against which the actual work accomplishment can be measured. As I mentioned earlier, that for measuring the performance of the organization, we have to measure the actual performance with the desired outcomes of the organization. Plans are basically the outlines about how the goals are going to be met. There are different types of goals that organizations pursue. All organizations have multiple objectives. No single measure can evaluate whether the organization is successful or not. Therefore, for the success of the organization, all evaluation criteria must be standardized. Now, first type of goal is financial goals. They are basically related to financial performance of the organization, such as profit or sales targets. Strategic goals are basically related to other areas of the organization. There are two other types of goals that organizations pursue. Number one is stated goals, and number two is real goals. Stated goals means the official statement of the organization. That means the goals that the organization present in its documents, while the real goals are the goals that the organization actually pursue. For the organization, the stated goals and real goals can be same or different. I would like to explain this with one example. For example, there is one university such as Kohat University, which is a public sector organization. The goal of Kohat University is to provide quality education to the students. At the same time, it charges minimum semester fee. This goal is presented in the official statement of the organization. That means that is a stated goal. In addition to this, charging of minimum fee from the student represent that this goal is actually pursued by the organization. So in case of Kohat University, the stated goal and real goals are the same. As compared to this, take any private sector university, which will also state in its official documents that they provide quality education to the students, but at the same time they will charge high semester fee, which will show that they actually pursue high profit. So in case of private sector university, the stated goal and real goals are not same, they are different. Now before going into the detail of plans, let's have a bit of understanding of what planning is. Planning is a process of setting organizational goals and deciding how best to achieve them. Planning is deciding now what we are going to do later, including what is to be done and how it is to be done. It is basically the development of a comprehensive hierarchy of plans to integrate and coordinate activities. Establishing an overall strategy for achieving goals also includes in planning process. Now let us have a bit of understanding of different types of plans. The first and the foremost is strategic plans. These kind of plans are applied to the entire organization. Establish the organization's overall goals. Such plans seek to position the organization in terms of its environment. They provide direction to drive an organization's efforts to achieve the goals. They serve as a basis for tactical plans, and also they cover extended period of time, and they are actually, you can say, they are less specific in detail. As compared to this, when we talk about operational plans, they specify in detail how overall goals are to be achieved. Operational plans basically tends to focus on achieving the company's short-term objectives. These kind of plans focus on day-to-day implementation of strategic decisions. We can consider them to be as immediate, that means 1 year or less implications. They details tactical plans to implement strategies and achieve goals and objectives. Talking about the long-term plans, the long-term plans are basically considered the plans with a time frame of 3 years or more. The definition of a long-term plan has changed with increasingly uncertainty in the organizational environment. That means the definition of long-term plans vary from industry to industry. For example, in stock exchange, the planning that is done for 6 months is considered to be in long term, because the degree of uncertainty in stock exchange is very high. As compared to this, in agriculture industry, planning done for 5 years is considered to be long run, because in agriculture industry the degree of uncertainty as compared to stock exchange is low. So we cannot specifically associate time frame to long-term plans. Similarly, the short-term plans are considered to be the plans with the time frame of 1 year or less. Again, the same kind of uncertainty principle can be applied to short-term plans time frame. In terms of financial planning, short-term plan helps us to answer 3 important questions. Number 1, how much cash should we have available in the bank to pay our bills? Number 2, how much inventory should we keep in hand? Number 3, how much credit should we have to extend to the customers? So we can say that both long-term plans and short-term plans are very important for the organization. The organization must keep in mind the duration of their plans depending upon the industry in which they are. Similarly, there are 2 other types of plans: specific plans and directional plans. Specific plans are clearly defined with no room for interpretation. The required clarity and predictability often do not exist. These plans are clearly defined and that they leave no room for interpretation. For example, a manager who seeks to increase his or her units work output by 8% over a given 12 months period might establish budget allocation and procedure. In the same way, when we talk about directional plans, these are flexible plans that set out general guidelines. They provide focus without limiting courses of action. Such kind of plans are flexible and that set out general guidelines. For example, instead of detailing increased percentage of output, manager formulate the plan for improving profit by 5 to 10% over the next 6 months. So we can see that there are specific differences between specific plans and directional plans. In specific plans, there is no room for interpretation, while in directional plans we are given a specific direction towards our target and we are left with our own options and choices to how to achieve those plans or implement it in a way. Okay, there are 2 other types of plans. These are single-use plans and standing plans. Single-use plans are one-time plans specifically designed to meet the needs of a unique situation. These kind of plans are done for attaining one-time organizational goals. Major undertaking that may take several years to complete. These kind of plans are basically large in scope, may be associated with several projects. For example, building a new headquarters, converting all paper files into digital. So we can say that building the headquarters or converting office into, like you can say, converting office into digital or digitalization of the office is a one-time activity. No organization convert their paper files into digital on daily basis or on yearly basis. Similarly, no organization built their headquarters on a yearly basis. So you can say that these are the single-use plans. When we talk about standing plans, these are the ongoing plans that provide guidance for activities performed repeatedly. like these kind of activities are performed on daily basis or weekly, or you can say on yearly basis. These plans include policies, programs and procedure or rules. So we can say that standing plans are formed from the unique combination of organizational policies, procedures and